Ladies and gentlemen, good day, and welcome to Indocount Industries Limited Q3 FY21 earnings conference call. This conference call may contain forward-looking statements about the company, which are based on the beliefs, opinions, and expectations of the company as on date of this call. These statements are not the guarantees of future performance and involve risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. K.R. Lalpuria, Executive Director and CEO of Indocount Industries Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I hope you all are keeping safe and healthy. I hope everyone must have got a chance to look at the presentation and press release by now. I have with me Mr. Muralidharan, our CFO, and Strategic Growth Advisor, our Investor Relation Advisor. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank each and every employee at Indocount for their continued support in navigating through these challenging times. Now let me start with a brief on the industry demand environment. The home textile industry witnessed a demand recovery from June quarter as retailers started opening up and consumers recognized the value of home as a safe haven. As we had informed during our last con call, home has become a center stage and most important part of our daily lives. This has led to increase in the consumption of home-related products. This, along with factors like China Plus One strategy, retail consolidation, and value-added categories of health, hygiene, and wellness, led to the increased demand. Retailers extended offers starting from November onwards rather than concentrating on holiday deals around Black Friday. Multiple new avenues of fulfillment have opened up, and retailers are now offering products not only in stores but through pickup mode and increasingly through digital channels. Despite unprecedented challenges, consumers and retailers demonstrated incredible resilience in the holiday season. Going ahead, we expect this momentum to continue as work from home and more importantly, health, wellness and hygiene has become a new normal, and we believe these trends are expected to stay in post-COVID environment as well. About cotton situation in India, cotton production has been higher and so has been the consumption. However, mismatch in demand supply due to COVID and CCI buying at higher MSP prices has created shortage, which in turn increased the cotton prices. Over and above the ban on Chinese cotton from Xinjiang region has created shortage, leading to an uptick in prices. We therefore believe the cotton prices to remain firm. Coming to our business performance, I am happy to announce that we have been able to sequentially achieve quarterly volumes of over 20 million meters. On our FY21 volume guidance of 72 to 75 million meters, we are optimistic and we expect volumes for FY21 to cross 75 million meters. With our current annual capacity of 90 million meters and now with the consistent quarterly run rate of 20 plus million meters, coupled with our long-term growth outlook, we are exploring various options for CapEx to increase capacities. Our aim is to enhance our capacities and our market share. In line with our endeavor to grow, we have started focusing on B2C and D2C segments. We have already preempted the benefits of entering this area through launch of our domestic brand Boutique Living, which is a mid-market aspirational brand, and layers in the month of October a value-driven mass brand. Accordingly, our focus is geared towards brand building as well as launching brands as per evolving customer preferences. We have established offices and design studios in key cities of the world to understand customer preferences and create products of the future. We are now focusing on creating more visibility through digital marketing channels. We are also creating a pan-India distribution network through MBOs and LFS formats. In today's world, e-commerce, omni-channel and D2C has become an important channel of distribution. Due to this additional channel of distribution, a wider section of people in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities have an opportunity to buy products both offline and online. As a company, we have taken the right steps towards adapting to the new avenues of sales according to the changing customer ecosystem. Our performance during the period has provided us with renewed confidence in exploiting this new channel of distribution and grow further. We believe there is a large opportunity for a quality brand and product in the Indian market and are confident of creating a strong brand recognition for our domestic branded business. We believe that these are long-term sustainable positives for our company. We at Indocount have a robust balance sheet, our financial prudence and our focused approach to the home textile business. Therefore, we are well prepared to seize these opportunities. Now let me share with you our operational and financial performance. I am happy to announce that we have achieved quarterly sales of 23.86 million for Q3 FY21. We have inched up from 13 to 17 million meter per quarter of sales volume in last couple of years to now being at over 20 million meter per quarter. Our order book continues to remain healthy. We are optimistic and expect volume for FY21 to cross 75 million meters. Total income rupees 792 crores in Q3 FY21 versus 637 crores in Q3 FY20, a growth of 24% on a YOY basis. Rupees 1852 crores in 9-month FY21 versus rupees 1743 crores in 9-month FY20, a growth of 6% on a YOY basis. EBITDA rupees 143 crores in Q3 FY21 versus rupees 81 crores in Q3 FY20, a growth of 75% on a YOY basis. EBITDA margin stood at 18% in Q3 FY21 versus 12.8% in Q3 FY20, an increase of 524 on a YOY basis. Rupees 309 crores in 9-month FY21 versus rupees 235 crores for 9-month FY20, a growth of 31% on a YOY basis. EBITDA margin at 16.7% in 9-month FY21 versus 13.5% for 9-month FY20, an increase of 316 bps on a YOY basis. Now PAT, rupees 93 crores in Q3 FY21 versus rupees 20 crores in Q3 FY20, a growth of 374% on a YOY basis. PAT margin at 11.7% in Q3 FY21 versus 3.1% for Q3 FY20, an increase of 864 bps on a YOY basis. Rupees 191 crores in 9-month FY21 versus rupees 65 crores for 9-month FY20, a growth of 195% on a YOY basis. PAT margin at 10.3% in 9-month FY20 versus 3.7% for 9-month FY20, an increase of 660 bps YOY basis. The net debt to equity at the end of 31st December 2020 stood at 0.06x. That's all from my side. I now leave the floor open for question and answers.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question, you may press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Anyone who wishes to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The first question is from the line of Hasmukh Gala from Finvest Advisors. Please go ahead.
Mr. Lal.
Hello.
Go ahead, sir. You're audible. Mr.
I am unable to hear Mr. Gala.
Sir, his line dropped. We move on to the next participant. The next question is from the line of Jiten Doshi from Enam Asset Management. Please go ahead. Jiten Doshi?
We are unable to hear, gentlemen.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Firstly, congratulations, Mr. Lalpuria, for an extraordinary performance. My questions circle around the long-term outlook of the company. You are already operating today at about 23 million square meters. So does that mean that that's a run rate of over 90 million? So what happens to your capacity? Are you able to outsource, or are you able to, are you outsourcing at the moment, or is it all being produced internally?
No, we do outsource, as we all know, our raw material, and we have 100% processing capacity as well as matching cut and sew operations. The board has given clear directions to roll out the investment plan which we are working upon. And the run rate we have already indicated that we believe that 20 million plus will be the run rate on a quarterly basis. This year we will cross almost 75 million plus. So we do have currently a capacity to pull on, but we will come with definite plans very in the near future and inform all the investors.
So maybe let's say if next year there is a visibility of maybe even 90 million meters, would you be able to, supply that much?
Yes, we should be able to. We have already, we have supplied this during the challenging times, the record volume and value. And as we have mentioned that we have a capacity of 90 million meters, and if we are delivering 75 million plus, then we still have a capacity of 15 million to cater to. And by then, we will definitely have plans to put across on the capex side to increase our capacities. And we are very confident of delivering, whatever is desired out of us from our customers.
So actually, Mr. Lalpuria, in your opening remarks, we did not get to know much about the China Plus One strategy from your side. Can you tell us that, how much has the long-term trajectory changed? Can we, in the next 5 years, let's say, aspire to do at least 150 to 200 million meters? Is that big an opportunity existing for us?
The China Plus One strategy we have clearly spelled out in our last con call. And we again substantiate that because the negative sentiments against China is growing. As we all know, the US has banned Chinese cotton from the Xinjiang region. And this is a big blow to them because 87% of their cotton comes from this region. So we are coming to know about the finer details. So that is a big blow to the Chinese exports. and that is a big opportunity for India to grow in that segment, which we have been forecasting time and again on the fashion bedding, utility and institutional side. And regarding our plans for the next 5 years, we have been saying that we have grown in the past and we have delivered as a team in these challenging times record volumes and value. So this is a testament to our company's capacity and capabilities. It also, authenticates our company as a globalized player with a world-class product and services. We strongly believe that we are an established player now and we have crossed the first level of growth. As a company, we are financially on a strong, sound footing. Our vision also is to become a top key player in the world of home textile, which is also becoming a reality. So we can say that we are entering a new orbit of growth. We believe that in the next 4 to 5 years, we should be able to double our turnover and create value for all our stakeholders. We will suitably leverage our current cash reserves and future internal accruals, along with the low interest rate in the market and the debt to grow both organic and inorganically. Our strong initiatives in the front end like branding, distribution, e-commerce, the domestic market and promotion of innovative products gives us the necessary confidence to become a leader in the bed linen segment globally. We also as a company are having continued initiatives in the environmental, social and corporate governance, which is helping the organization to become world class. These sustainable initiatives undertaken will help the company to contribute favorably to our national growth as well. So therefore, we are taking strong initiatives for growing the company to the next level because we have already fundamentally established the first level. So that is my say from my side for our future growth plan.
So, I'm now saying that last time you had guided us for a particular range of margins, but now we are seeing that you're able to hit a particular band. Can you tell us what is the new normal in terms of the margin band? Like you said, 20 million plus is the new normal for every quarter. And when you say 20 million you will do, like for example, in the fourth quarter, you have never crossed 14 million. So is this a new growth trajectory that the company is entering?
We have already mentioned that the annualized guideline will cross 75 million. So that shows that we should be able to cross 20 million in the fourth quarter as well. As far as the margins are concerned, we have already given an annualized margin guidance of 15 to 17% in our last con call. And for FY22, we should be able to provide in our next quarterly con call.
Okay, but if I look at this as the new normal, that means every year you will be generating at least 500-600 crores of EBITDA. That means over the next 5 years, you will be generating 2,000 crores plus of cash. So why would you need debt to expand?
No, that the board will figure out. Definitely we have cash reserves on the book and we will suitably see how much expansion the board directs us to make, and accordingly we will draw in debt. Otherwise it will be from internal accruals.
Okay. Thank you so much and wishing you all the very best. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Hasmukh Gala from Finvest Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Lalpuria, my line got cut.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So just, my question was regarding the sustainability, that the surge in demand which we are seeing, based on which you anticipate that you will be able to do, say, quarterly run rate of 20 million. So how good is that, the sustainability, the spending spree, etc., which you have seen in this particular quarter?
As we had informed Mr. Gala earlier in our earlier con call, there is a structural shift where home has become the forefront of our life and lifestyle.
Okay.
And the demand momentum is continuing, which we are observing from this quarter as well, and what we have given guidance for the next quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a strong visibility of sustenance, as our order book position is also good for the next year.
Okay. What is the order book roughly, if you can say?
The order book is normally 5 months to 6 months, and we are into replenishment business, so we do have visibility on long-standing orders.
Okay. Now, are we doing the promotion, etc., which we had withheld because of the COVID thing? You could not travel to America, Europe, etc. So how are those things changing?
So they are also doing well. See, equally, when we supply replenishment, we have also to support the customer with promotion as well. Whenever they see the category is doing good, they also go into promotions.
Okay.
And plus the e-commerce is also developing, the online, offline and the direct to consumers business is also growing.
Mm-hmm.
So these are new channels of businesses. So this also, as a company, we have created a complete strong background for delivering both case pack and pick and pack like drop ship. And those distribution we already have, and we have performed in the past also. So we can always take advantage because we have a faster go-to-market approach.
Right. Now, sir, one thing we observe that in Q3, our raw material cost has come down, and so has in 9 months to 50% from earlier about 54-55%. And you just indicated in your opening remarks that because of this consumption increase and CCI buying at high price, the cotton prices will remain at high rate. So do you see the material cost or your gross margin getting depleted to some extent as we go ahead?
We have dealt with such situation in the past as a company, and cotton is a global phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
We are closely watching this situation and are covered for 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
We are confident, on passing on this rise if necessary to the customers. As also the demand is sustaining. So when the demand is good, the customer also accepts our request on the price rise as well. And over and above, the product mix also changes from time to time.
Okay. So current year we have hardly spent anything on capex in first half when the balance sheet was available. So what will be the total capex like for FY21 current year?
No, the current year we have already given routine capital expenditure of 20 to 25 crores.
Okay, because we haven't spent that in the first half, so maybe it may come in the second half.
See, it was not needed, Mr. Gala. We already have a capacity of 90 million meters. So whenever the board decides, we will definitely take that call.
No, correct. That is right. No, it may be some balancing equipment or some upkeep and all that.
That we always do, that we always do the balancing equipment, the debottlenecking or any modernization. We always take that into consideration.
Okay, that's fine. And sir, when the new project is being set up, you said that you will come out with definite plan, but what could be the approximate size, the optimum size which you should go for deriving the economies of scale, etc.?
See, that we are on the drawing board as what we have said, and the board has given clear direction already to work out the investment plan. So once that is frozen, we will definitely provide that information to everybody.
Okay. And sir, my last question is, now this RoDTEP has already come from 1st January. So now what will be our rates like?
See, that is not yet decided by the government. So as and when they decide, it will be an information in public domain, so everybody will know.
Okay. So they have not yet done that?
No, they haven't spelled it out.
Okay. But earlier we were expecting something like 8% plus 4%
Current
from
rate
MEIS.
is 8.2%. We have submitted like refund of duties and taxes through our council to them, and they will take appropriate call. As such, we do not know today. It will be spelled out by the policy makers, and then we will come to know.
Okay. But existing, under the existing arrangement, what is the total benefit we get?
We get RoSCTL 8.2 and 2.6% is the drawback. So total 10.8, but the realization is around 9.5.
Yeah, that you had explained in the past also. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. I will join in the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Gala.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Nihal Jham from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon to the management. So a couple of questions from my side. First, when you mention of the China Plus One policy, we did allude to that even in the last quarter, but specifically the Zhejiang issue is something that is come up, I think, only in the last couple of months. And if we look at the OTEXA data also, the pickup in market share for India has only happened in the last month or two, at least in the bedding segment. So I just wanted to understand that is this shift right now happening because of the issue with cotton availability or the usage of cotton from Zhejiang, or structurally there is a movement that is in place? And if it is so, it is just that it was not reflecting in the data before that.
No, we have already mentioned that some of the structural shifts which are happening from June onwards and during the COVID time is that the home has become the center stage. So home textile consumption has gone up, number one. The second was the opportunity toward China Plus One strategy. And this Xinjiang cotton happened almost like 3 to 4 months back. But it's scaled up now because the custom has started blocking shipments from Xinjiang cotton area. And Xinjiang cotton area is supplies almost 87% of cotton, Chinese cotton. So it is quite substantial. So that's what the China Plus One strategy, and over and above that, China has been focusing on its domestic business and not on the export business. Their raw material prices, like when we compared apple to apple, cotton is almost 30% expensive than Indian cotton. Their labor cost is like almost triple than the Indian labor cost. So all these factors provide opportunity, India being a large player, and India is at an advantageous situation because India is the largest producer of cotton, and India also traditionally produces textile, and in the last 2 decades has performed well in the home textile area and have garnered a good market share in the global market. So we feel the negative sentiments which are building toward Chinese supply will definitely create opportunities for Indian and other home textile players around the globe. So that is what the China Plus One strategy is. We are going into finer detail of how the reaction would come across on the supply chain side from this region in the near future, and that we will keep informed.
Right, sure. But just to follow up on that, what is interesting is that ideally in a lot of the other sectors, the China Plus One works where China is the market leader and India is at a number 3 or 4 position in terms of market share. But at least in the bedding segment, we anyways are a leader by far. So in your interaction with the purchasing managers of the big box retailers, are they comfortable increasing the share even further, because we already have a 50% plus market share in that segment?
Yes, of course, because you see that the market share indicates that India is competitive and performing well. And if India comes out with complete bedding solution, wherein fashion, utility and institutional bedding, China still dominates, and in the MMF sector also China dominates. So those are the areas which are like low-hanging fruits for Indian suppliers if they built on the capacities and the capabilities. So that has been mentioned earlier too, and that's why our company has also since last 3 years has ventured into these new areas and have focused on the bed linen side of the business, and we have grown this to almost 15% of our sales.
Sure, sir. Absolutely. That's helpful. A second question on the capex part. When you're looking at expanding further from 90 million meters, will we be only adding the processing capacity, or we may add weaving and the yarn capacity also?
See, that the board will take an appropriate call. We are on the drawing board, and once we freeze how the capacities has to be panned out, we will definitely come back and present to the board, and then it will be known to everybody.
Sure. And last question from my side. On the incentives part, you mentioned currently the duty drawback is 8.2%, right? And ROSCTCL is at 2.5%. Did I hear that right?
No, no. ROSCTL is 8.2% and duty drawback is 2.6%.
2.6%.
It is the other way around.
Sure. And we are expecting that once RODTPL rates are announced, they should be around 8% at least.
That we do not know yet. No, as I mentioned to Mr. Gala also in my previous answer, that the government will decide, and that will be an information in the public domain which everybody will know. So we are awaiting for the government to decide upon the rate.
Absolutely. That'll be it from my side, sir. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Aman Sonthalia from AK Securities. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my question is that recently the cotton price and the yarn prices has skyrocketed. So, how it will hit our margin in the coming quarters?
See, as I mentioned earlier, that we have dealt with such situation in the past and we are covered for 3 to 4 months already. And
Okay.
if necessary, because the demand is sustaining, we will pass on to our customers.
Okay, it's not a very big issue. They will understand the problem and they will give the price increase.
So it is an issue. It's a global phenomena. You see, cotton being a global commodity, it is a global phenomena. So we do have to watch, and we have to see how it pans out. But as a company, that's what position as of now we are taking.
Okay, so already, sir, we have got some price increase.
Yeah, we'll be able to pass on, as I mentioned to earlier, that if there is a substantial increase and it impacts everybody in the marketplace to all categories of product made in cotton, then definitely everybody will go to their buyers and ask for a price rise, so which will be accepted by the customers because they also know about this global phenomena.
Okay, sir. Okay, thanks a lot. This is from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Vinay Jaising from Enam Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Hello. Thank you so much for the opportunity, sir. Congratulations on one more good set of quarter and a great quality presentation. Most of my questions, I think, have been answered partly. So, bear with me. When I look at your last 2 quarters, and I look at the volumes, and I just multiply the last 2 quarters by 2, so that I get a full year's run rate, we are closing to 92, 93 million. And, the question is, if at all, the last 2 quarters are repeated in the next 4 quarters, the next 6 quarters, and we have a capacity of 90, and, as most of your investors are asking, what happens on CapEx? Will you be able to outsource your overall, part of your consumption so that you can cater to this demand? That's my first question.
Yes, of course. We have been outsourcing and we can outsource. But as I mentioned earlier, even if we cross 75 million and today we are at 90 million, for the short to medium term, we'll be able to maintain our supply chain,
Right. So
we have 100% processing capacity in-house and we have cut and sew in-house. It's only the yarn and the weaving fabric which we outsource predominantly, which is available in India in ample quantities.
Would that reduce or increase the margins, or would that be neutral to the margins if we do something outsourcing?
See, so far, it will be neutral. Say, we are covered for 3 to 4 months. As I mentioned, we have to closely watch. This is a global phenomenon on the raw material side. And we need to keep a close watch.
Sure. Lalpuria ji, I'm not really bothered about the raw material at all. If, whatever you've been saying, sounds very exciting that, the China Plus One strategy, the demand, that seems to suggest to me that your volume growth is back. And even if I don't assume a volume number, it seems, that this quarter's volumes can be just, taken and multiplied by 4 and you can cross 92, 93 odd million. And so I'm trying to just gauge that is this a one-off quarter or these quarters now, you kept on mentioning 20 and not 22 or 23 or higher. So I'm assuming that this kind of a quarter, more or less, can be maintained or moved up even forward in the short term as well, right? In terms of volumes and EBITDA margin.
So of course, see, we are expecting this momentum to continue as we maintain from our order book position. And we also mentioned that we are on the drawing board, and soon we will be taking decisions regarding the capacity expansion. And as I mentioned that for short to medium term, even if it goes to a 23 run rate, we'll be able to supply because we can always outsource as well. So the margins are what the guidance which we have given already for annualized. And for future, the margin we need to see in our next con call.
Sure. So as far as volumes are concerned, if you get the current volumes, which you seem to be relatively confident on, supply is not a problem. So that's one part of the equation.
Yeah.
Moving to the second, you had spoken a lot about domestic markets in the last call as well. If you can throw some light on that, in terms of what would be your targets, on the retail front. You did speak about online, but any other thing you're doing, because obviously your quality of products which you suggested on your presentation also seem to be impressive.
Yeah, the domestic market is quite upbeat, as we all know, because there are only a couple of prominent players in the marketplace. We had launched Boutique Living 3 years back, and our product has been well accepted, and quickly we have been able to distribute our products to 20 states with almost 500 point of sale. We are quite upbeat now to grow this business because the online B2C and the D2C business channel of distribution is also growing along with the offline business. And we as a strong manufacturer are able to provide complete customer solution in the future. So we are quite upbeat about our domestic brand, and we had launched in October the Layers brand also, which is value driven to complement the Boutique Living. And Boutique Living is an aspirational brand. So we are getting through digital marketing also quite positive responses. So we have acquired good talent, we have built in a good team, we have built in good backup processes, systems, wherein we can cater to the consumer demand in the near future in this area. So, and India is going to become a 5 trillion economy, we all know. Home has become the center stage. The buoyancy in the property market, the home where you spend a lot of time for entertainment, work, pleasure, everything, it will provide necessary, impact on the pattern of consumption in the home textiles as well. So with all this positives, we are quite positive about our domestic market, and this Layers brand is catering to a complete range of home textile, wherein we have found positive responses on the digital marketing side as well. So that's the reason you see this domestic market seems a good visible business model in the future.
So I'm going to slip in one more question. Thank you so much. If I look at, what you're telling me currently, that, capex is not a problem, inventory is not a problem, raw material cost is a bit of an issue. One last thing, if you can tell us, what do you expect from the government, in the budget? Are we expecting something in terms of PLI that, we get some, this industry also comes under PLI and, you get some volume numbers where you can, build a new plant or something coming there? Or are we expecting just the ROGC, platform wherein you'll get a higher margin there and, that takes care of your export incentives? Any thoughts on that, sir?
See, the government has declared, our Prime Minister has declared Atmanirbhar Bharat. So as a company, we are strongly pursuing this goal. And we as an Indian company, we, think globally and act locally. And that's what our vision is also. And the government is definitely supportive, providing necessary regulation, policies and support from time to time. And it will further provide, because textile is a large contributor to the GDP as well as it is a large employment generator. So definitely the government has got a soft corner to textile because it employs a large number of people. So I think the PLI also, it has been indicated by the government that textile is one industry among them where PLI will be implemented. We are yet to understand the details of it, but we feel that the government will provide necessary support to both the textile industry and exports in the coming period, because they also would like our GDP to grow at a faster rate. So that's my input from my side on this question of yours.
Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. All the best again.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Chirag from ValueQuest Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Sir, I have just one question. What is our hedging policy?
We hedge around 60% of our forwards as per our forex policy laid down by the management.
Okay. And at what rate currently we would be having our hedges?
74 plus is the future rate.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. A reminder to all the participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Vikram Sharma from Nivesha Investments. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yes. So can you provide breakup of export and domestic market in current quarter and first 9 months?
See, we are mainly an export company. The domestic we had started, it is still at a initiative stage. So we'll be able to provide better guidance in the other 2-3 quarters later on.
Okay. And sir, what was breakup of home textile and spinning in last quarter? And are we selling cotton yarn to or on the final product only?
No, mainly we are captively consuming our yarn, but to some extent we do sell, because the spinning was whatever was established in 91 was not forward looking towards consumption of home textile where we need finer yarn. So some part of it we do export and sell in the domestic market.
Okay, but not more than 10%. Or
no, like it's not substantial, because mostly we are using for our captive consumption.
Okay. And sir, are we able to procure complete requirement indigenously for raw material, or are we facing some problem?
No, we are outsourcing and we are not facing any issues, because we have long time contracts with our suppliers and we support them and they support us.
Okay. And with current market scenario of cotton, do you think we would be able to manage operating margin on same level going forward?
So we will try. I mentioned we need to observe the situation. We are booked for 3 to 4 months, and we have given our margin guidance already on an annualized basis. For next year, we need to observe, being a global phenomena like cotton, we need to wait and watch and see how it pans out.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Giriraj Daga from KM Visera Family Trust. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, sir.
Hello.
So
Hello.
Mr. Daga, can you hear us? Mr. Daga, can you hear us?
We cannot hear Mr. Daga.
So we move on to the next participant. The next question is from the line of Hasmukh Gala from Finmas Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Just wanted to know, in our total 24 crore other income, how much was forex gain?
It's about 14 crores.
Okay. Because in last full year, we had a substantial amount of Forex gain of about 50 crore. So this time it is only 14 crore.
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
Okay. And sir, how is the position regarding the recovery of export incentives? Because as on March 20, we have big amount which was to be recovered, something like 80 crore plus. So has that situation improved?
The situation has somewhat improved, but periodically the government's funds are, getting over, so they extend it to. But ROSCTL we were able to get on a continuous basis, but in some MEIS and ROSL schemes, they are still lagging behind. But we hope that to get much more synchronized in the future because government is focusing on online transaction.
Okay. So as on 31st December, how much would have been outstanding? Any idea? Export incentives to be recovered?
About ROSCTL and drawback together would be about 40 crores.
40 crores. Okay.
Of which I think this was as of the 31st December, but later on we have recovered about 25 crores. So as on date, this should be about 15 crores net. But plus there will be additions happening as we move on.
New claims would have been launched. Correct.
Yeah.
Right. Now, sir, on receivable side, as on September, our receivable had increased by about 88 crore to 330 crore. So now, how is the position on receivable?
Beg your pardon, on the
as the volume moves up, you see the receivables also will move up, Mr. Kala.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But in terms of number of days, we are comfortable, is it not?
Yes.
Okay. Because as on September, what had happened that our inventory had run down by 50 crore and receivables had gone up by about 88 crore. So we do not know what's the December position, but that's fine.
No, those are normal, business routine.
Okay, nothing.
We are well in control of the days.
Okay. And so this investment, which is about 80 crore as on 30th September, which are the avenues where we have parked this money? They are all mutual funds?
No, we have parked in bank FDs.
Bank FD. Okay, but then you are classifying it as investment, 80 crore?
Yes. That is 80 crores which we have mentioned. We sometimes do in arbitrage funds also, but that is very meager.
Acha, okay. So mainly it is bank FD.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Giriraj Daga from KM Visaria Family Trust. Please go ahead.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So my question is a clarification required in one of your earlier answer. You mentioned that China cotton exports are getting blocked. Customs officials are blocking export from Chinese cotton areas. Can you explain a bit more there?
So this is what the information is in public domain, and what we hear about is the Chinese cotton coming from Xinjiang region is, if it is found by the US customs, they block that particular item from getting access to the US market. So this much we know, and they are asking the Chinese supplier to provide certificate of origin, that whether it is produced from Xinjiang cotton or other cotton. So this is the information which is available to us. Yes.
Okay. Understood. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Dhiral Shah from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir, and congratulations for the good set of numbers. Sir, in your opening remark, you said you are targeting double kind of a revenue in next 3 to 4 years. So, what is the ideal fixed asset turnover in our business?
Typically, it is 1:1.
Okay, so for doubling the revenue, sir, are we expecting? Do we expect that we have to do almost 2,000 crore kind of a capex? Because
yes, investment would be substantial. It depends on the value addition also.
Okay. Okay. And sir, currently, what is the proportion of manufacturing and outsourcing right now?
So mostly, as I mentioned, we are doing processing 100% in-house, and we are doing cut and sew also in-house. So mostly we are doing in-house only.
Okay. And sir, lastly, when you talked about the cotton which is coming from the restricted area in China, so what proportion is it the overall Chinese export?
Say, come again?
Hello?
Yeah, come again. I was not able to.
Yeah, when you said that US is restricting the Chinese export, which is coming from the Zhuan region, right? Okay, so what is the proportion of the overall Chinese which is coming from that region, sir, particularly?
It's almost like 20% what they say in the overall cotton production worldwide.
Okay, that's it from my side. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Ridhima Chandak from Roha Asset Managers. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Sir, my question is on our domestic market. So as now we are now focusing on the B2C and direct to consumer sales here in India. So as of now, what is our contribution from the online sales? Do we track this data?
So as I mentioned, it is too early to stage a number because we have started focusing as of now since last 3-4 years. We were earlier focusing on the .com businesses of the retailers and then drop shipping to some e-platforms as well. But during COVID and post-COVID, the online e-commerce D2C, B2C business has strong distribution, has developed into a strong distribution channel. So as a company, because we are geared up with the back end, we are focusing on this going forward. But it is too early to give you a number.
Okay. And do we also have our own stores here?
No, we do not have. We are not into retail.
Okay. And as our total domestic contribution is approximately 7 to 8% in our total revenue in FY20. So, and we are also focusing very aggressively here. So, what contribution going forward you are looking for India in the next 4 to 5 years, or say 2 to 3 years?
So I think we have not mentioned that we are at 7 to 8% of our sales in the domestic. We have always maintained that this is a new area. We see a lot of growth in this area. We are all geared up with necessary brand distribution, the team, and we see a big opportunity to grow in the domestic market. So that's what we have mentioned also in our investor deck and press release, that this e-commerce, B2C, D2C, and all this channel of distribution, along with large format stores, MBOs, etc., pan-India, and with the Indian economy growing and the home textile consumption growing, we see a big opportunity of growing this business here. We will be able to provide you with some number, say maybe next year.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question for today. I will now hand the conference over to Mr. K.R. Lalpuria for closing comments.
We remain confident that the next level of growth and Indocount will be sustainable, brand accretive, margin positive, and will strengthen the customer relationship. We would constantly focus on increasing our penetration through B2C and D2C foray. With this, I would like to thank everyone for joining on the call. I hope we have been able to address all your queries. For any further information, kindly get in touch with me or Strategic Growth Advisor, our Investor Relation Advisor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Indocount Industries Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.